But don't get me wrong. You just taught me to think beyond the box. You see, I don't think you realize the real meaning of what you just said to me in the tree up there. You told me to think outside my mind. When I saw you falling, however, I realized that all my life I had just been thinking about myself. This is actually Polly talking to Kitty. All my energies had just been concentrated on me. I've been so selfish all my life. My dear Kitty, when I saw you writhing in pain, I did think outside my mind. At first I thought you were crazy, but I realized the only way I could ever think outside my mind was to think out of the box. That box was me, Kitty. Once I thought outside me, all my fears disappeared. Once I thought outside me about another, about you, I could feel.
Yeah, thanks. So I've always been intrigued by this concept of thinking outside the box. You know, I'm sure this was a concept that was coined maybe recently, maybe not, but it's something everybody's heard of. You know, thinking outside the box. Right from our childhood, we're taught to think outside the box, and not really. From our childhood, we're taught to think inside the box. You know, in the conventional sense. But somewhere down the line, we come to the realization that by thinking outside the box, we can actually aspire to follow our dreams and our aspirations. But if you look at it more closely, by looking outside, if you're looking just outside the box, you're excluding a lot of things as well. If you look outside yourself, there is everything to focus on, like all the people that you would have otherwise ignored. You know, this is like a precursor to the Lego engineering. This is when you start caring, when you realize that if you think outside the me, outside yourself, you know, that's the only way to live, because in every waking moment you're only thinking about yourself, and when you think outside yourself, you alleviate your own suffering, because you tend to get thrown out of your own body. It's like a movie. When you're watching a movie, you're connecting with the characters on screen. Why? Because you're living their lives. You're not thinking about yourself. You're not thinking about what's happening with your personal life, you know, at home. You know, and just to give you an example, you know, the other day I saw a beggar girl at the intersection, and I somehow felt her pain from inside. You know, I mean, it couldn't be the same pain. Obviously, she would have her own specific pain, but I felt some sort of pain, and I thought that this is what she must be feeling, like, you know, hungry and without any food, and sad that she can't have sit in the same fancy car as me, and I just said that, you know, if this is not proof that the soul is one, then what proof is there? You know, this is the only proof. If I feel her pain, it has to be proof that the soul is one, and that automatically gets you to think about caring about others, because in essence we're all one. So
Very nice. I'm just going to read one last passage before I read another. This is the second last one. And the last one I just want to read because it's so funny.
oh, okay.
It's got it only has sex in it, and it doesn't have any spirituality at all.
Oh.
So this one is from the chapter Oneness of Soul.
Yeah.
How many miles to Kilimanjaro, you ask? What will it take to feel high again? All of us are really chasing the high, aren't we? Some seek a chemical high, others spiritual. Some even seek a runner's high. And why do we do it? Because it makes us feel good. And what is life without feeling? Does a comatose patient lying on a hospital bed somewhere in the world qualify to be alive? The body feels. It makes the soul experience the beauty of sound, taste, smell, touch. No, I believe the seventh sense is stronger than that. The seventh sense can do all of that and much more. The seventh sense is hidden from us because we tend to find everything in the world outside us, when our entire lives are actually lived inside us. But is there really an inside? And more importantly, is there really an outside? What if all of this entire universe, everything we see, is us, really? What if the seventh sense that is so powerful has the capacity to inhabit multiple organisms at a time with different consciousnesses? You can never understand it till you feel it. That one moment when everything is clear. When this little pussycat becomes more than just a cat. she becomes the kitty Buddha.
Yeah, actually, this is very important. This is a very important passage because when I was writing the book, this was what it was all about, the seventh sense. You know, I always likened love to a sense. I never thought that love was, we always think about love and we look at the sexual exploits and, but I always thought there was something deeper to it and I thought that just like your sight and your touch and your feeling, love is a sense that is built into all of us, and it is something that cannot be experienced by the senses. It's something beyond the senses, the ordinary senses. So the whole purpose of this book was finding the seventh sense, which is actually love, and the cat and that's the highest point that Kitty reaches, when she finds that unconditional love by giving it, you're just complete that way. When you're in that state of unconditional love, you're complete, and she of course christened it with the name the seventh sense. So she gave it a label.
So this is the one passage that I just thought was really tickled me. So she's wandering around the city and she's at a a loose moment. She's just at a loose end, and she's kind of thinking to herself and looking at Savitri Bai, and specifically Savitri Bai's ass. Shut up, I admonished myself. You can't make it with a fisherwoman. She's not even from the same species as you. And how would you make it exactly? Both of you had holes like a donut. What is fascinating about the donut, however, is that everyone is fascinated by the part of the donut that is not the hole. In the case of a woman, every horny male is just fascinated with the hole. Kind of like a reverse donut psychology. There must be more to Savitri Bai's ass than meets the eye. Maybe she wears purple underwear beneath. Maybe it's Calvin Klein. Can a fisherwoman afford that? Chances are Savitri Bai has not heard about Calvin Klein. The tough, earthy woman with a thick smell of fish about her does not give a damn. She can do without such fancy frills. Perhaps she will snicker at the idea of Brazilian waxing. Rather, she would pull up her sari before the woman barber in her slum for a close trim. Or a shave. But imagine her, resplendent in purple, inside her coarse cotton sari.
Yeah. So this is just one part of the book. There's a lot of sex in the book, and the reason I did it that way was because a cat can get away with it because a cat can say anything, right? It's not me saying it. I mean, you read these murder mysteries, and you would think that and you get into the mind of the criminal, and everybody thinks the criminal is bad, but who's actually creating the thoughts? It's the writer, right? So if he can get away with it, the cat can get away with anything. So I just thought that a cat, by her own nature, is sexually explicit. Cats don't treat sex with the same amount of censorship that we do. Cats would just go and do it, on the road and anywhere at any time, and they don't care. So a cat has to be like that. I can't make a cat like a prude, right? She has to be a cat. So that's the whole premise for making her the way she is.
There's another nice tiny passage called the chapter's called the Seventh Sense.
Yeah.
And just a bit from that. They say love is a state of mind. I say the mind is a state of lust. Love is a state of soul. If you go to the vegetable market, you can just as easily fall in love with the lusty cucumbers on the cart as the sultry woman in a pink sari who kept sucking on an ice lolly. The reason we land up with broken hearts is because we are incapable of loving ourselves. No humping or pumping is going to give you that love. No words of love or hugs either. It's only when you realize that your essence is love, you realize that everything was you in the first place. Everything from a cucumber to a woman. You tried so hard to get that love simply because you were deeply suspended in the delusion of being another. And as long as you were another, you could never feel the love. You always had the feeling you just looked for it from the senses. Because the senses need another. The 6 senses. The senses that connect you to this world. The senses that bind you to it. Until the 7th sense sets you free.
Yeah, this again is just about how all of us, try to, it's easy for people to tell you that everything is one and oneness and everybody's the same, but you've got to really experience it. You have to feel it, and I'm not saying I feel it. I still don't feel it. I don't think that I'm Kitu. We're not the same. There is a difference, but there are ways to think. When you look at this world and you wonder why this is happening, your mind always it's like a progression. You're coming to the realization, and the whole book says, even after Kitty attains her enlightenment or whatever, she still has her, her pleasures and stuff like that, because she's not a saint, but she's getting there. So the whole premise is that we're not all, perfect, but we can always progress to a higher state by thinking. What have we got this mind for in the first place, right?
I think we kind of, if there are any questions, I don't think everyone has read the book yet, but
Yeah.
any Mangala in the audience have questions? Oh, we have a question right now.
Okay.
Hi Rohit.
Hi,
I have
Paresh.
a book since the day it was launched, but
Right.
as Kitu said, I haven't read it yet. But if you could just expand your thinking on the 7th
Sense.
sense that you're talking of, because
Right.
from what I was sitting and listening to, that's one part I really got interested in. And,
Right.
if the author in you can bring out what 7th sense means to you.
Okay. First, I'd like to say that, this guy Manish, I just met him not too long ago. We met at the swimming pool, and I didn't know him, he didn't know me. And I don't know why that, we both started talking to each other about spirituality, vipassana, and, I don't know how we connected. We just connected, and, so it's so great, to have somebody who is in sync. I think we have these vibrations. You connect to people that you kind of resonate with. So So Manish, the whole thing is that the 7th sense is what it's all about. That when you are incapable of thinking about yourself, when you only think about others, that's the deepest state of love. When it's completely unconditional, and in that state of love, you are liberated. When you no longer care for your own self, and when it's 100%, as Kitty experienced it, she felt liberated, and she called that, that kind of unlocked all the other. It kind of locked the other senses, because she wasn't interested in the senses anymore. She wasn't interested in the trivial pursuits of the, of the flesh and the mind, and she just wanted. She was liberated. So the 7th sense is love, and that's what it's all about.
Rohit, what made you choose a cat as the protagonist of your tale? Especially, I'd like to ask this question because we usually associate cats with selfishness. They're very egocentric. They don't really care about others. And was there any reason why you chose a cat to talk about love, universal love, and compassion?
Well, I chose a cat primarily maybe because I've grown up with 100 cats. Since I was a child, and I've had up to 17 cats in my house at one point in time. I think I mentioned that to you. 18, yeah. My mom also, she didn't like cats first, you know.